Facebook and on Facebook as well. So in this webinar, we have Royal Holloway University, which is a top university from London. And for this webinar, we have Adrienne from study group and who look after Royal Holloway applications also. And firstly, he'll be giving you brief introductions and information about Royal Holloway University, why you should study at Royal Holloway University, and some of the admissions and scholarships information as well. And after the webinar, if you have any question related to Royal Holloway University, you can ask in chat box, you can ask in Facebook Live as well, and we'll answer all these questions to you. So make sure you have some questions in mind after these presentations. So welcome, Adrienne, and over to you now.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, David. So hi, everyone. My name is Adrian. I'm actually the interim recruitment director. So just for today, right, I'm going to be speaking more about our partner university, which is Royal Holloway University of London. But before that, right, I'd like all of you guys to think of and just check, right, just ask yourselves, how familiar are you already with RHUL, right? So one meaning, I don't really know anything about RHUL, but, you know, up to like maybe a level of expertise to 10, maybe you guys are already like, oh, I know everything about RHUL. I know the courses, I know the cost, the location, and so on and so forth. Now, the main objective, right, of this particular session is for everyone to be at least an 8 or a 7, right, after this, yeah? So if not, then if you feel that, I'm really not in that level yet, then you should ask your questions, and I'll be very, very happy to answer those, yeah? So the usual question, right? Why would you actually study at Royal Holloway in the first place? I usually ask our students even, right? So why did you choose Royal Holloway before, right? And I always get 3 to 4 key answers, very, very common answers, right? So number 1, academic prestige. Now, Royal Holloway, right, is actually in the top 30 university in the UK in terms of ranking, top 25% in terms of all UK universities for research. Now, the other key thing as well in terms of prestige is that Royal Holloway is within the University of London umbrella, meaning to say it is a University of London partner, right? Now, in the UK, and I've heard this many times, right, from especially from parents. Oh, can my child go into University of London? But actually, right, there's no such university as in the University of London campus, right? University of London comprises of different universities and colleges, very, very high-ranking ones, such as King's College, Queen Mary, London School of Economics, UCL, universities that I'm very sure that you guys are aware of. And yes, Royal Holloway is actually part of that very, very prestigious group, which is another say key benefit, right, of why you should study at RHUL. Now, the other key or common response that I'm getting is in terms of location, right? Now, Royal Holloway is just a stone throw away from London, right? It is actually located in Egham, Surrey. It takes you around 35 to 40 minutes, right, to get to central London, right? And I actually tried taking the Uber, right, from Royal Holloway to London. It took me, it took me just probably less than an hour, right, to get there. So it's really, really fast. It's very convenient. And in fact, a lot of our students, right, would actually travel to London during their weekends, sharing, sharing an Uber or something. And actually, very interestingly, a lot of our professors, right, are actually living in London. So every single day, they actually do that commute, right? So it's the point is it's very, very easy to get into the university itself from London or vice versa. Yeah. Now, the other common reason that we get is because the campus, the university is pretty, or is one of the most beautiful campuses in the world, right? I've went there a few times, and I can say this with all honesty, right? That it is the most beautiful campus that I've ever been into, right? It is a combination of, being in a very, very charming castle-looking campus, but at the same time within that campus, right, are state-of-the-art facilities, very modern buildings. So it's the best of both worlds, so to speak. All right. Now, the other key reason that I usually get as well, right, is in terms of careers and employability. Now, not just in terms of location, because obviously, again, it's near London, so it's easier to get, a job placement, or and so on and so forth, right? But many of our courses, right, in fact, all business and engineering related or computer science related courses, sorry, we have placements available, right? And we also have a careers services, right, that helps students literally to find jobs, right? So our students, right, from first year up to their last year, if their main purpose, right, is to find a job after they graduate, right, or find a placement as well, right, during their studies, they can go into this particular department, talk to our career services people, right, and they themselves actually would run workshops for them to be able to prepare them for the interviews, right? And also, right, they're running activities or events to connect you with your future employers, right? So this is very, very important, especially for those of you who are thinking of staying in the UK for, for long term, right? Okay, now in terms of the subject rankings, we are very, very well known in terms of performing arts, creative writing, sorry, in terms of psychology, film production. So if you are really into these particular majors, right, there's no reason why you shouldn't consider Royal Holloway. Now, the other thing here, right, is that most of our students would actually be studying business and IT and computer science still. Okay. Now, if you are looking into performing arts, right, or music specifically, Royal Holloway, right, is actually one of the very top universities in the world, right, for this particular major. In fact, as you can see here, right, I always tell our students, we are even higher ranking than Oxford and Cambridge, right, in terms of these particular majors. Okay, so I was speaking a little bit on the popular subjects that, that we have for international students, but to be specific, right, we have, of course, our business management courses, right? We have all the accreditations that a student would need, AACSB, CIMA, CPA, and so on and so forth. And as you know, these accreditations are very, very important for you to be able to get licensed. So for example, if you're an accountant, you want to become a CPA, you need to basically complete a program or accounting and finance program in an accredited or CPA accredited university, right? We also have a year in business. This is basically your placements, right? Available for all of our undergrad courses that are business and management related. But if you are a postgraduate student and would want to have a year in business or placement during your studies, you can actually join our Master of Science in Entrepreneurship and Innovation, right? Now, the second majors, right, or group of major would be engineering, physical and mathematical science, computer science, info security, and cybersecurity. This is one of the most popular courses that or majors that we have as well. In terms of the key reason, right, I'm not going to get into the detail, but in terms of the key reason, it is because our BCS, or rather in terms of our courses, right, they're the only ones that are actually accredited, right, or certified by the NCSC. So only our courses, right, in cybersecurity, and in, well, both in the undergrad and postgrad level are certified right? And then also 100%, right, of our Master of Science taught programs, yeah, are offered with 1 year optional industrial option, placement rather, right? So basically, this is this is your placement. 100%, right, of those courses are with placements. Yeah. Now I also heard, right, that 75% of those students that have actually taken those placements were fully employed, right, by those companies, right, during or after their placements, which is a very, very high percentage. I haven't seen anyone who or any actually major, any course, right, that has offered that type of percentage. Imagine around 8 out of 10 of those students who have done their optional placements have been absorbed or hired by their employers. Okay. Now, of course, humanities, music, film, and performing arts, aside from the fact that these are very, very high-ranking majors, right, for Royal Holloway, I think the key here is that for these majors especially, you would want to build your connections very, very early, right? Because it is a very, very competitive industry, and Royal Holloway, right, serves as a great platform for you guys to do that. So it's very, very important, right, that you are taking up your programs in a very, very high-ranking university and well-connected into the industry. All right. So in terms of our courses, right, or entry routes that are available, yeah, we do have two main entry routes. So number one would be direct entry, right? And the other would be your pathway courses. Now, direct entry, meaning to say in very simple terms, right? You can go straight into the first year of the undergrad and postgrad programs, right? Now, this is open, or rather, all the courses are open for everyone. So meaning to say you can apply through us or through our colleagues as well, right? And for all or any course that are available at RHUL. Now, obviously, there might be students, right, that have not met the academic or the English proficiency requirements yet. For such students, we are offering pathway courses. Now, these pathway courses, right, are delivered in our International Study Center. The beauty of it is that the International Study Center is actually within the university itself. So while you are studying your pathway courses, right, you aren't by no means, right, being outcasted, because you are going to be a university student. You are studying in the university, and you are rubbing shoulders with your fellow university students. Okay. Okay. All right. So moving on in terms of the entry requirements, right? So for Myanmar particularly, right, these are the sample qualifications, by the way, that you can see on your screen. But for Myanmar particularly, right, for undergrad programs, yeah, you would need, and direct entry, forgive me, for direct entry entry requirements, right, you would need, right, your standard high school qualification plus a further year of studies. Okay, so if you have studied an undergrad program already for at least 1 year, that would help you get admitted into the program. Okay, and then the grades that will be required, right, for your further studies, okay, would be roughly around 80% or higher. I'm going to get into the details later on, right? But if, for example, you were not able to meet those requirements, the good thing is we also have our international year one, okay, that the students can apply for, get admitted to, and then after the international year one, you can go straight into the second year. So in other words, to simplify it, it's still 3 years. The duration will still be the same. Okay. Now, for a master's program, okay, it would be a variety because, you know, there's a long list of master's courses. Some master's courses or most of the master courses, right, would actually require you to have a master's from Myanmar as well. If you so happen to have taken another master's or sorry, another bachelor's degree rather from a different country, then that's gonna be on a case-by-case basis. Okay. Now, similarly, right, if you have not met the entry requirements for the master's direct, we also have a pre-master's course that's available for you, right, that you can get admitted, and then after, like, you know, again, depending on your English proficiency, after roughly around 6 to 9 months, then you will be able to get admitted into or progress into the master's degree level. Okay, now a lot of the students, right, have also applied through this what we call the UCAS. So as you know, if you're an undergrad student, to get admitted or to study in the UK, you will have to submit your applications through UCAS. Now, the good thing is that if you have done this before, you will still be able to apply through our colleagues, right? Through expert, obviously, right? And they will still be able to submit your applications to us. Yeah. And then what's going to happen, right, is that they can still support your application from, you know, the very first initial stage into the visa application. So you do not need to worry if you already have applied through UCAS. Okay, so in terms of the key dates, right, the application deadline is 7th of August. Now, I'd like to advise you, though, that 7th of August, right, is actually already quite late, especially if you are applying for, well, obviously you're applying for a visa, right? So I would suggest that you submit your application a lot earlier, okay? And yes, the September intake starts on the 18th of September. So, you know, the time frame is not really that far, yeah? Now, speaking of submitting your application earlier, right? It is very, very advisable to start the process earlier and also to confirm earlier because of a few reasons. Number one, you have to ensure that you have enough time to submit all the necessary documents, right, to receive your CAS and apply for a visa on time, right? Number two, if you are trying to also apply for pre-sessional English, that particular course starts earlier. Hence, you will have to start your application process a lot earlier as well, right? Number three, we are receiving a historic number of applications, right? So a lot more than what we used to have from the previous intakes. So the course rate, or the popular courses to be specific, might be already oversubscribed. So you would need, right, or at least it's advisable, right, to submit your application for your courses or for your preferred courses as soon as possible, just to manage your expectations as well. Yeah. Now, next, for you to also have enough time to secure scholarships. This is very, very important. And lastly, right, to secure or confirm an accommodation, right? If you are able to confirm by 29th of June, which is just, well, a few days away, right? We will be able to confirm or rather secure you an accommodation if you are studying at well, if you're a direct entry student, right? Now, if not, if you're looking at a pathway course, then it will be by end of July, right? Now, the good news, though, is that based on the numbers that we have, we would definitely have enough rooms for everyone, right? Because we have looked into the possible number of students. We do have enough rooms in our university accommodations, and we also have plenty of private accommodations that are surrounding the university vicinity as well. Okay. So in terms of the fees for direct entry, right? The range would be around 18,000 to 27,000 pounds, right? Later on, we will be able to provide you the full list of the fees based on the specific course that you are applying for. Now, we also have a variety of scholarships for direct entry students. It's a very, very long list, so I'm not gonna, enumerate each and every one. But what we can do, right, is to provide you a link that would actually have, right, this list of scholarships. And what you would need to do in terms of next steps, right, is to check the eligibility requirement for these scholarships and see if you meet them. If you meet them, very easy. You'll just have to let your advisor or counselor know, right, that you are actually applying for this scholarship, right? And that would also require you to submit a personal statement. Okay, so the documents that will be required will also be reflected on the list that I'm going to be sending you, right? And you'll just have to basically or very easily submit those documents to us. That's it. All right. Okay, so in terms of alternative entry routes, right? So first of all, if again, you have not met the English proficiency requirement yet, we do have an English course that is running within the university itself. So currently, we only left with the 4-week PELP or Pre-sessional English program, right? Because in terms of the deadline, it's actually in just a few days away. Okay, so if you would need like a longer duration to meet the English requirements, and I'm afraid that you would need to submit an alternative English core instead, right? Which is your Duolingo or IELTS, right? Okay. Now, I've mentioned about our international study center programs or pathway courses, right? We have 3 main pathway courses available, right? So we have Foundation, International Year 1, and your Pre-Masters, right? So I've listed here the academic requirements for each. Let me go through them one by one. Now, one would be, or the first one rather, would be for undergrad international foundation year. Now, if you are holding on to a high school matriculation qualification, or which is equivalent to 11 years, and have achieved minimum of 60% overall, then you will be able to get admitted into this program, right? Now, if you are holding on to the same qualification, but you have actually studied one further year of study, right? And your GPA, right, is around 2.0, then you will be able to get admitted into the International Year 1 program. Now, I understand that a lot of the students would rather go or apply for International Year 1 to save the duration, or rather to have, to study a shorter duration, because it will still be 3 years rather than, a 4-year program, right? And at the same time, in terms of visa application process, it's going to be easier because it's an integrated task. So you would only need to apply for one particular student visa, and this visa rate would cover your IY1 or International Year 1 together with the program or the degree program as well, right? Now, in terms of the English requirements for foundation, we are looking at a UKVI 5.0 with minimum 5.0 in writing and no lower than 4.0, yeah? For International Year 1, we are looking at 5.5 overall with minimum 5.5 in all skills. Yeah. Now, the good thing about International Year 1 is that we also accept, right, other English alternative courses or scores rather. Yeah. So we have Pearson, we have Cambridge, ESOL, TOEFL, IBT, and so on. So if you are not able to submit an IELTS, right, then these are the other scores that you can that you're going to be able to submit as well. Now, for the pre-master's program, the academic requirements, right, is supposed to be a successful completion of 4-year bachelor's degree program or equivalent, right? So that's very, very important. And the score should be at least a 60%. Right. Now, in terms of the intakes, scholarships, and fees for foundation year, it's going to be around 18,100, right, with a scholarship of up to £2,500. For IY1, it's going to be up to 19,000 in terms of the tuition and fees, but the scholarship is a little higher, so that's that's £3,000 rather. And then for the pre-master's program, it's only going to be 15,750, and the scholarships is up to 2,000. Now the intakes, right, is going to be around November, January or September. However, for a pre-master's, it's only going to be in March. Okay. Okay, so before I move on, right, does anyone have any questions, perhaps? Going once, going twice. All right, no worries. Yeah. Now, another thing that I would also advise you to do, right, is that after this session, please go into our website. Yeah. And we will send you these links as well. It is obviously hard for me to, bring everyone to Royal Holloway, right? But really, one of the key things about the university, right, is its campus. It's the university and the student experience itself. And the best way to basically show it to you, right, is via the virtual experience, right? So later on, you will be able to, if you are to go into this website, right, you will be able to get into, virtually again, the facilities and the vicinity of the university. Now, the other thing is that you can also talk to our students. So I always say, the university is, this and that, but please go and talk to our students, right? There is a facility or a feature here that you can use to chat with our current students, right? You can ask them, all the questions that you could think of. And the good thing is that these students, right, are from a variety of backgrounds. So in terms of your demographics, in terms of, which country they were from, what is the major that they're studying. So you can ask those questions. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So moving on, right? So let's see. 7 interesting facts about Royal Holloway. Okay, so I've mentioned multiple times, RHUL is one of the most, if not the most beautiful campuses in the world, right? The founders building, right, is actually huge, right? It covers almost 135 acres. Absolutely stunning, yeah? This is another photo or image, right, that I could share. So I was telling you just now that it's actually a combination of a very, very charming castle-like campus, but on the other side of the fence, right, it is very, very modern-looking library, right, and other buildings within the campus itself. Now, it's not just me saying that the campus is beautiful, right? But if you go to TripAdvisor, you will also see that a lot of the comments are saying, yeah, this university is absolutely stunning. Okay, now I'm going to show you some interesting photos, right, that was taken by one of our students. So this student, very interestingly, right, she actually graduated at RHUL, right? She met her husband in the university, and then both of them decided to take their wedding photos at the university itself, right? So this is the first one, just really looks great. So this is basically the church, right? And this is where some of our music classes are also delivered. So that's very, very interesting. Okay, just Great background in there. Just stunning, right? Okay, so another very interesting fact about RHUL. It was opened in 1886 by Queen Victoria as an all-women's college. So actually before, right, I wasn't even allowed to study at RHUL, right? But this particular, as you probably know, right, during this period, I mean, there's a lot of things that that women are not able to do, right? They're not able to study, they're not able to vote. So this is really one of very, very, or one of the key great initiatives rather that has happened in the UK, and RHUL is part of it, right? Now, I did mention as well that RHUL is part of the University of London group. It means that we can even, or the students rather, can also have access to the central London base in Bedford Square. So not just the campus located at Egham, Surrey. Right? So in fact, some of our courses are actually being held there. So if you are, or if you have applied, right, for these courses, MSc in logistics, digital marketing, cybersecurity, engineering management, software project management, and producing and film and television, you will be actually taking those classes in our London-based campus. Okay. All right, another interesting fact, the campus is actually being used a lot of times, right, to film very successful and famous movies and TV series. I think the most recent one is You. So I'm not sure if anyone have actually seen that on Netflix yet, but certainly a lot of our students have. So you can see here they were very excited. So they've even taken some snaps of the making of or filming of the series here, right? Okay, so worldwide footprint, it's actually one of the or rather one of the universities that has the most alumni footprint in the world, right? So we currently have 95,000 and counting in 165 countries. Okay. Now another one, very interestingly, the prince and princess, I think I can call them prince and princess, or the royal children of the king and queen of Malaysia, have recently graduated at Royal Holloway. So in fact, I heard from my counterparts in the university, right, that it's actually quite or pretty normal, right, for folks with royal blood to actually study at Royal Holloway. So I think it's the royal connection there. So it's, it's pretty cool, right, to have classmates or friends within the university that are with royal background, right? And last but not the least, right, so the Magna Carta was actually signed just down the road. So as you know, this is one of the very key happenings that in the UK in terms of the policies for the people's rights and so on. So that's very, very interesting that it actually happened just stone throw away from the university. You can actually bike to to get there. All right. So I really hope that this session was helpful for everyone. I really hope that I was able to give you the information that you are looking for, or that you are expecting. But if not, is there anyone that wants to ask any questions here?
Thank you, Mr. Andres. Hello, guys. If you want to ask any question, you can ask in the chat box or direct yourself to Mr. Andre.
there's quite a lot of information to digest, I understand.
Yes, the presentation is so good, so much information. Royal Holloway is a historical place, a nice place to study.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And if it's just when I got there, to be honest, right, the photos, the images that were sent to me, right, didn't give it justice. There's just certain level of energy, right, that you feel when you are in there. It's probably because it's been there for quite some time. It's very, very historical. So it's one of those campuses that that people are really attached to.
Yes, yes. Guys, do you have any question, please, in the chat box? One question in the chat box. I have a question, sir. Do you have artificial intelligence course for undergrad and postgrad?
Yeah, so the quick answer to that is yes, right? We do have AI courses, right, in the undergrad and postgrad level. In fact, one of the most popular, or within one of the most popular courses that we have in the offerings.
Thank you. Tuition fee for this artificial intelligence course. How much tuition fee for this artificial intelligence course for undergrad?
Yeah, I could give you a range. It's gonna be around 20 to 22,000 pounds for direct entry.
Thank you.
Right.
Guys, do you have any question? Please in your chat box or unmute yourself and write to the question to Mr. Andrea.မြန်မာလိုလည်းမေးလို့ရပါတယ်နော် unmute လုပ်ပြီးလည်းမေးလို့ရတယ်မြန်မာလိုလည်းဟုတ် Mr. And another question in the chat box, is there any kind of co-op program, internship or work placement for computer science?
Yes, so there are definitely internships and placement that are being offered for computer science related courses. Yes.
I have another question. Do you accept Duolingo for English entry requirement? Duolingo.
I didn't catch that. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Do you accept Duolingo English test for English proficiency?
Yes. So for direct entry, we do accept Duolingo. Yes.
What is the minimum brand score? How much minimum brand score for?
Oh, that's a good question. And the only thing is because it varies, right? So because for direct entry, right, for different course, it has a different Duolingo. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but usually it's for the usual business or computer science related, right? It's gonna be equivalent to say 6.5 IELTS.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another question. I want to know about computer science tuition fee within living cost.
Living cost, right?
Yes.
Okay. So for
living cost total.
Got it. So for the living cost, right? Okay. So with the caveat that it depends on your lifestyle, right? Because that might differ. But I can give you a range, right? So for the living cost, I would say probably around between 850 to around 1,300 pounds per month.
Thank you.
And that obviously covers your accommodation, your food, and so on, right?
Yes.
But what I can say is definitely lower compared to London. So that's actually one of the benefits of it.
Yes, yes. Guys, do you have another question? You can ask Okay. Another question in the chat box.
Mhm.
One more thing I really want to know. Do you have a scholarship for computer science who attended a grad level 2-year bachelor in Myanmar? He is second year bachelor
Second year bachelor's in
in
Myanmar,
Myanmar.
and they
Yeah.
are trying to
Computer
get into the
science.
direct entry, right?
Okay. Any scholarship? Do you have any scholarship for this?
Yes. The only thing is, right, I won't be able to tell you if you can get subject exemptions, right? Because that's gonna be on a case by case, right? So you might still have to do your first year rather than jumping to your second year or third year of the university. Okay. Now, to answer the question, the quick answer is yes, definitely. We do have a long list of scholarships. There's a range of up to for computer science up to 3,000 to 3,500, if I'm not mistaken. And then once you get hold of that list that I'm going to send you afterwards, then you'll be able to check on it on your own as well.
Thank you so much. Guys, do you have another question? Mr. Henry, I think they have no question for this time.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Well, again, really thank you, everyone, right, for your time. Really appreciate you joining this session. I hope that you have learned something out of this. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to reach out, and I'll be very happy to answer them. I hope that I could bump into you one of these days in the university, perhaps. So thank you so much, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Henry, for your presentation.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.